If your dog watches you eat, they're not just asking for food. Have you ever noticed that your dog always seems to appear the moment you sit down to eat? It doesn't matter where they were before, sleeping, playing, looking out the window. The second food appears, so do they. And then comes the stare, patient, silent, unmoving, as if they're waiting for something important. Most people think they know why. They want food, simple, obvious, end of story. But what if that's only part of the truth? What if your dog is actually doing something much deeper, something connected to instinct, routine, trust, and even love? Because when dogs watch us eat, there are several things happening inside their minds, and the final reason might completely change the way you see those dinnertime stares forever. Let's begin with number 7. Number 7, they're following an ancient instinct. Let's start with the obvious one. Yes, your dog probably wants a bite, but not for the reason most people think. Long before dogs lived in our homes, their ancestors survived by staying close to humans. Food scraps meant survival. The individuals that paid attention to eating humans often had a better chance of finding their next meal. Over thousands of years, that behavior became deeply rooted, and traces of it still exist today. That's why your dog suddenly becomes interested the moment food appears. But here's something interesting. A truly hungry dog behaves differently. They become restless. They move around. They lick their lips. They search for opportunities. A dog calmly staring from across the room is often doing something else. They're waiting, watching, following a familiar pattern, almost like an old ritual, a behavior passed down through countless generations. And that brings us to something most owners never realize. Sometimes the food isn't the most important part. Number 6, mealtime means you'll finally stay still. Think about your day from your dog's perspective. You're constantly moving. One room, then another, then outside, then back again. You answer calls, open doors, leave the house, come home, disappear behind walls. Your movements are unpredictable, except during meals. Every day, around the same time, you sit down and stay there for 10 minutes, maybe 20, sometimes longer. For your dog, this is one of the most predictable moments of the entire day. They know where you'll be. They know you won't suddenly leave. They know you're available. That's why many dogs arrive before the food even hits the table. They're not reacting to the meal. They're reacting to the routine. The routine means proximity. The routine means presence. And for a creature that forms strong attachments, presence matters a lot. Watch carefully next time. Some dogs start following their owners before any food appears, because what they're anticipating isn't necessarily dinner. It's you. Number 5, they're watching your face. Here's something fascinating. Your face changes when you eat. Most people never notice it, but dogs do. During the day, your mind is occupied. Work, responsibilities, stress, deadlines, distractions. Your face reflects all of it. But when you're enjoying a meal, something shifts. Your shoulders relax. Your expression softens. Your breathing slows down. For a few moments, you become calmer, and dogs are remarkably good at noticing those changes. They study human faces constantly. In fact, your dog has spent years learning your emotional patterns. They know what frustration looks like. They know what sadness looks like. They know excitement, and they know contentment. The version of you sitting peacefully at the dinner table may be one of their favorite versions, because it's one of the most relaxed. So while you think they're watching your food, part of the time, they're actually watching you. And what they're seeing is someone they love finally slowing down. Number 4, they're checking that everything is okay. This idea goes back to something ancient, something older than your living room, older than dog beds, older than food bowls. Pack behavior. In social animals, food carries information, not just nutrition. Information. Who is eating? Who is safe? Is everything normal? Is the group functioning properly? For many dogs, watching you eat is a way of confirming stability. Everything is where it should be. The household is calm. The important humans are present. Nothing unusual is happening. This may explain why many dogs stare intensely at first and then gradually relax. Sometimes they even lie down nearby. The observation phase is over. The check is complete. Everything feels normal again. And that sense of normality creates comfort. We're halfway through, and the next reason changes everything, because it reveals that your dog may understand your habits better than you understand theirs. Number 3 is coming up next. Number 3, they know exactly how predictable you are. This one is surprisingly funny because your dog has been studying you for years. Every habit, every routine, every little pattern. Without realizing it, you've been teaching them. They know when you wake up. They know when you leave. They know when you usually come home, and they definitely know your eating habits. In fact, your dog probably knows more about your dinner routine than you do. They know which chair you sit in. They know which meals take longer. They know which foods have a higher chance of producing crumbs. And they know exactly when you're most likely to look their way. This isn't manipulation. It's observation. Dogs are masters of observation. They learn through repetition. And after watching thousands of meals, they become experts. Some dogs even learn that different family members behave differently. One person never shares food. Another always does. One ignores the stare. Another gives in after 5 minutes. And over time, your dog builds a mental map of these behaviors. Not because they're plotting against you, but because understanding humans has always helped dogs survive. The better they understand us, the better they can navigate their world. And that leads directly to the next reason. A reason that has very little to do with food and everything to do with connection. Number 2, mealtime is a ritual of belonging. Think about your favorite family traditions. Maybe it's celebrating holidays together. Maybe it's gathering around a table. Maybe it's spending time with the people who matter most. Humans aren't the only ones who value rituals. Dogs do too. They may not understand dinner conversations. They may not understand recipes, but they understand togetherness, and that's what matters. When your dog lies beside you during a meal, they're choosing to be part of the moment, part of the group, part of the family. For social animals, being included matters a lot. It creates security, comfort, connection. That's why some dogs seem disappointed when they're left in another room during mealtime. It's not always about the food. Sometimes it's about missing the gathering, missing the shared experience, missing the chance to simply be near the people they love. Because from your dog's perspective, being close to the family is often the reward itself. And now, we come to the final reason, the one that changes how many people view those dinnertime stares forever. Number 1, they're looking for reassurance, not food, reassurance. Here's something important to understand about dogs. Their world is built on relationships, more than toys, more than treats, more than comfort, relationships. And at the center of that world is you. You're the person who feeds them, protects them, guides them, comforts them. You're home. Every day, dogs look for small signs that the bond is still strong. A glance, a smile, a gentle word, a touch on the head, tiny moments, tiny confirmations. When your dog watches you eat, they're often doing more than waiting for a bite. They're watching the person they trust most, the person who makes them feel safe, the person who matters more than anyone else. And sometimes, without realizing it, they're asking a silent question. Are we okay? Are we still connected? Do I still belong here? Of course, your dog doesn't think about it using words, but emotions don't need words. Connection doesn't need words. Love doesn't need words. Dogs communicate through presence, through attention, through shared moments. And mealtime happens to be one of those moments. A moment where they can sit close, watch quietly, and simply be with you. That's why many dogs seem perfectly happy, even when they never receive a single piece of food. Because sometimes, The food was never the reward. You were your presence, your attention, your company. Those things matter far more than most owners realize. And perhaps that's the real reason those eyes can be so hard to ignore. They're not always asking for what's on your plate. Sometimes they're asking for a little piece of your attention, a reminder that they're still part of your world. And the beautiful thing is, most of the time, they already have the answer. Because every day you feed them, every day you care for them, every day you welcome them into your life, and every day you show them they belong. So the next time your dog appears beside you at dinner and watches every movement of your fork, don't assume they're only interested in the food. Maybe part of them is following an ancient instinct. Maybe part of them is enjoying a familiar routine. Maybe they're studying your face. Maybe they're enjoying the feeling of being close to you. Or maybe they're simply spent as a... So the next time your dog appears beside you at dinner and watches every movement of your fork, don't assume they're only interested in the food. Maybe part of them is following an ancient instinct. Maybe part of them is enjoying a familiar routine. Maybe they're studying your face. Maybe they're enjoying the feeling of being close to you. Or maybe they're simply spending time with their favorite person in the world. And honestly, that's a pretty beautiful reason to stay for dinner. Canid Mantor Sign-Off. This is Canid Mantor, where we understand dogs, not just as pets, but as emotions that walk beside us. Because sometimes, the quietest things dogs do tell us the most about how deeply they love.